Welcome to Aggie Pride, a UC Davis football podcast, an interview-driven show focused on stories over stats, and your number one home for everything happening in FCS football, the Big Sky Conference, and of course, your UC Davis Aggies. Each week, we sit down with players, coaches, alumni, and voices around the program to dive deep into the stories that matter and have a little fun along the way. This is Aggie Pride. Welcome back to Aggie Pride. I'm Brock Galvin, and we are into the heart of February. It's Valentine's Day season, and we got a special pod on tap for you today. It's an in-person podcast coming from San Francisco, recorded after the Super Bowl breakfast with Will Klier, who's been involved in UC Davis work for a number of years and is just a sweet time. And we kind of go over the Super Bowl breakfast and chat about his ministry and just how he's been connected with the players at UC Davis for the past couple decades. This episode is proudly sponsored by Next Level Sports, delivering the best youth sports experience. If you have an aspiring athlete in 1st through 7th grade, this is your chance to get on the field with Next Level flag football at UC Davis or in your local community. All the teams in Davis are coached by UC Davis Aggies football players, which is awesome, giving these kids real mentorship from the same athletes who practice and play on the same field within the Ags football program. It all takes place at UC Davis Health Stadium, so you get the full game day atmosphere every week. Whether your participant is brand new to the sport or already obsessed with football, Next Level focuses on skill building, teamwork, and growth. And it's an incredible way for the kids to build confidence, make friends, and learn from true role models. Registration has been open for the winter season, which has been going on right now, and the volleyball season is also open, and spots have been going fast. They have summer and fall activities, I believe, as well at nextlevelsports.com. So give your athlete the best youth sports experience and team up with Next Level Sports. Of course, Lance Smith, who we've had on the pod, is a former Ag himself who runs the dang thing. So thanks again for Next Level for showing up in a big way during the off season and keep us running strong. For other sponsors who've either been a part of this in the past or have been on the fence about jumping in, we, as you can tell, are doing this thing throughout the off season. So if you want to participate at all, there are different levels for different, availabilities or options for you. So just feel free to reach out. Also want to thank the subscribers who have been sticking with us this off season, trying to get you guys some early access to episodes and some subscriber only pods this off season. But at the very least, we're just appreciative that you are continuing to support the Aggies by way of the Aggie Pride podcast. All right, so let's go. We got 3 main things that we're going to talk about. There is big news out of Fargo, North Dakota, which is that the Bison from North Dakota State are heading to the Mountain West Conference. Now, this comes as some disappointment for Aggie faithful because when it was announced last year that the sports minus football at UC Davis were heading to the Mountain West, we thought, okay, especially because of a clause that we got wind of in the contract, we would have the first right of refusal for any FCS school. We're going to be that next school. Well, North Dakota State ends up being the one. And I think for us, we're kind of like, okay, shoulder slumping. Is this going to happen? When's this going to happen? But the writing has been on the wall. I think the school has done a good job communicating. Like, that's not what we're trying to do right now. Like, we're adding club suites. That's not 10,000. That's not, we're going to bring our facilities up to the FBS level standard. And so I think it is what it is at this point. I personally am kind of happy for North Dakota State because they've been so dominant at the FCS level. It'll be fun. I told my wife last night, I said, are they going to go to the college football playoff in their first year? Like, just stop and think for a second. Boise State, when they were members of the Mountain West Conference, went to the college football playoff last year. We know that, Tulane and schools like that have been able to make it. So you have, I believe, one team, the group of 5, like highest rated team can go. So for me, I'm kind of like, this is an opportunity for the Bison to win the Mountain West Conference this year. And they've already petitioned saying, hey, let us go to postseason play. We'll see if they grant that. But ultimately, I'm excited for them. I am kind of like, where does this put the Aggies? Are we waiting a few years? Are we never going to FBS? there was a line slipped into the Rocco DeLuca. Actually, it wasn't in that. It was in another announcement, which I'll talk about in a second, that basically says it was, publicized by the athletic department saying, hey, this is a big moment, or this is like another step for us to compete at the highest level on the national stage. And preceding that, it said something like, with the constant shifting, conditions or climate of the football bowl subdivision, blah 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 blah. So that was like, I saw some stuff on Twitter like maybe there is a chance that we have some movement in the next few years. I know a lot of people are doubting that, and then there are also probably an equal amount of people who are like, no, it's going to happen. It's inevitable. So again, it'd be very interesting to see how the Bison do in that conference. It's a watered down Mountain West conference. A lot of the best teams from the Mountain West conference are now in the Pac-12 conference with Washington State and Oregon State. But the fatigue is something that Sam Herder's written about, the fatigue of the fan base, the fatigue of not only the Bison fan base, but FCS fan base. Like we're kind of sick of seeing the Bison win national championships. It's like how we got sick of Alabama. It's how we got sick of the Patriots, which is why the country was kind of happy that the Patriots lost the Super Bowl, even us Niner faithful who hate the Seahawks. And so, I think what ultimately comes from a move like this is an opening at the FCS level for new teams to rise. South Dakota State was down last year. That is kind of the last decade been the other team. Montana State did win the national championship. They lost their, I believe, their defense or offensive coordinator to an FBS school. And that's going to be interesting. He's been there from the beginning for the Bobcats. And so we'll see, they just kind of are like a reload type team normally each year. And they got Taco Dowler back. They got Adam Jones back. They got Justin Lamson back. So there's a lot of, I would say, confidence coming from Bozeman. But you look at the other side of the state of Missoula and you are losing Bobby Hauck, which is my segue into the second thing I wanted to chat about before our interview with Will Klier is the fact that you literally have a guy say from the podium, like, college football is broken. It sucks. I hate talking to agents. I'm not into this thing. And then like 48 hours later, it's like new defensive coordinator for the Illinois Fighting Illini, Bobby Hauck. And I think for us, we're like, dude, that's a little contradictory. You're kind of, saying one thing and doing another. He did make it a point during his press conference to say, I'm not into being a head coach anymore. Well, he's not going to have to do that. But if you think a D coordinator at the Big Ten level doesn't have to deal with a lot of the same NIL garbage, then I think you're mistaken. I say garbage. I don't know. I don't know how I think I've just been watching and, I get texts from people all over the map. Like, these guys could get paid. I get texts from former Ags like, this is disgusting. The Caden Pinnock reaction, I think, was a really good example of that. People all over the map. Some people are thinking he's like just this super selfish kid. I think the majority of people have been like, hey, he's doing the best thing for his family, aka him and his mom at this point in his life, aka maybe more of his family. I don't know his personal situation. But Bobby Hauck gone. They hire their wide receivers coach. That's always interesting. You're hiring a position coach, not a coordinator. But what does that do to the Grizz? And then you look at the Big Sky, and we talked about our schedule. Like, we don't play the Bobcats. We play the Grizz. I think there's a very strong likelihood we beat Montana. We run the table in the Big Sky. Yep, adding that pressure. Let's go, fellas. And we end up co-champs. And it's the first co-championship since 2018. 9 years later. And so that would be pretty legit on our end. But I think going to the last bit of news, Tim Plough, contract extension, 5 more years from 2026 to 2031. Very surprised. Was not sure his future at UC Davis, in all honesty. You feel the frustration at times. We don't have enough money at times. There's not enough people in the stands at times. We can't get over the quarterfinal hump. And yet this is a reassertion from him, like, this is my home. I want to be here. I want to see this thing to the finish. He's told a lot of people he said he would. And so I think that's also a thing, like when you say stuff out loud, and he's been very, dogmatic, confident, clear in his messaging that I'm here and I'm staying here and I'm going to lift the trophy and think of all the people who've been here and it's going to be for all of us. So I kind of do believe it, and I think that is what a coach, that is what a leader, that is what a CEO, that is what people who are trying to sell you anything need to convince you of, that it's going to happen. that it's the truth, that this is what they actually want. And so this is actions show that more than words, right? And so this is an action that gives a lot of credence to the words that he's used. I'm staying for 5 more years. Now, life can still change in so many different ways. And so we'll take it one day at a time, 1 year at a time. But I think it gives recruits a ton of confidence. I think it gives coaches a ton of confidence. Coach Shelton heading down to Disneyland with him over the Super Bowl weekend and his crew. You think of the special teams coordinator just came in, who was a young pup at Northern Arizona when Plough was there doing his thing, starting the Shredville attack. And you just think about people who are investing in the program, people who are donating money, guys he played with who are listening to this right now, who are way more engaged in the program because they knew Coach Plough, because they were coached by him for some of the younger guys. And then the bridge, which is the very crucial piece of this dynamic, the bridge piece of Coach Biggs still gets to be involved in the program. Coach Soker's like aura and influence and wisdom is still in the program. I don't think we had that same aura and continuation of like philosophical belief when Ron Gould was the head coach. That just it couldn't be. He was not a born and bred UC Davis guy. And bless his heart, he's been coaching running backs and been coaching his butt off all over the freaking world since then, including now with the LA Rams. So no shade thrown at Coach Gould right now. So I really think for UC Davis, like what a big week, what a big opportunity in the FCS landscape. Blue blood numero uno, the Alabama of FCS football. Now, not like we're leaving in 2 or 3 years. Now, 2026 season, they will be in FCS. That's wild. 17 mil, by the way. $17 million. 12 to the conference or something like that, or maybe the Big Sky, but mostly Mountain West. And then 5, I think, is the entrance fee. I could be mixing those up, but like a lot of money. Especially North Dakota State money. It's not quite the same as, Bay Area Tech money or even Sac Joaquin section money. So I think the Ags know that it's going to be a pretty penny. They know that they're going to have to be strategic about funding and that sort of thing. We've already entered into, the clause or where you're paying players and you're splitting your revenue sharing and that sort of thing, which who knows how much it ends up being. Could be nothing, could be something, could be significant. But I think ultimately, like I said this many times last year, we're like the 6th best team in FCS, which is incredible. Like when we were playing, not the 6th best team in FCS. I think there were a lot of weeks we were like getting votes and that sort of thing, but probably like a 30 best case, and then 50 to 60 more regularly when we were playing in the late 2000s. And so I think for us to now move from like we're the 6th best team in FCS to okay, well, process of elimination, we're 5. Plough is back with a long-term commitment. I think we're better than 5. I think you will hear the name UC Davis with the Montana State, South Dakota State. And I think Tarleton State is that 5th school. Illinois State had a magical run. They had a lot of deep talent. We'll see. Brock Spack's been there a long time, though. I just feel like for the program in year 17 of SPAC to all of a sudden be like, we are the powerhouse, there's not a lot of coaching school trajectories that are like that. DM me or don't DM me, send a comment if you can think of other examples. But ultimately, I think it's just a different time for Illinois State than it is for UC Davis. Tim Plough is a younger coach who's got this program on the rise, and we all respect Brock and his mustache because that's what we do with all Brocks. And I think ultimately, when we look at the future, Sam Herder had the tweet, top 3 schools he expects to go to FBS in the next 2 to 3 years. Number 1, Sacramento State. Number 2, Tarleton State. Number 3, the University of California at Davis. And I think we are the least likely out of those 3 schools. Dr. Wood's going to knock down some doors to make sure it happens. Tarleton State is in Texas, where if you are breathing and have someone in your family who has oil, then like people are there's just so much talent. We all know the culture there. It is going to be interesting to see the Tarleton State whatevers go to the FBS like in a year or 3. So it could still happen with us. My over under, which Sam's was 2.5. He said 2.5 of those teams over under 2.5 those teams going to FBS in 3 years. I think that was the scenario he broke down. I would say it's going to be more than 3 years, but y'all know how I roll. Kind of am like, it's probably not going to be as quick as we want. And I'd rather be surprised and proved wrong. I love to be proved wrong. So ultimately, it is an exciting off season. This is not an off season with no news. This is all really, really fascinating stuff for the UC Davis trajectory and program, and for the FCS landscape, and for really the next opportunity for an FCS powerhouse. Great interview on tap here with Will Klier. He is, I already kind of mentioned it in the beginning, but he's just an awesome guy who has been involved with the program for a number of years. Knows a lot of guys, has a lot of stories. We share some of them in our interview coming up. And so hopefully you can stick around. Hopefully you can stick around. All right. If you didn't know, I'm wearing some golf attire because I just shanked it around at the driving range yesterday afternoon. Great session at the range. Felt like, gosh, this is it. I'm really getting some good torque out of my hips, consistently hitting the ball. I'm still in that stage. Consistently hitting it, well, and mostly where I want. Like, that is a huge win. Not like scoring 85 or something. That's not in the cards right now. We're on that track. And today it just felt like, and y'all will resonate with this, like everything was gone. Everything was gone. I didn't get it. Like, how did everything just leave right away? And so I say that because I recorded this part already in the clothes I was wearing before this, and Riverside and all of its beauty couldn't handle it for some reason. So we pray that this works, because if it doesn't, I will not be recording this little monologue again. Thank you. Welcome back to Aggie Pride, a UC Davis football podcast. This is the first ever podcast in San Francisco.
Let's go.
We've never done it on site in San Francisco. And I am here with a special guest, and I'm realizing I might butcher your last name's pronunciation. So you can actually, I'll say Will, you say
Klier.
Klier.
Yeah, I just want to clear that up for you.
Oh, I love it. Dad jokes already in.
Father of three, so.
I love it.
Yeah.
And why are we here in San Francisco, Will?
Well, we just got done with the Super Bowl breakfast, the
That's
NFL
right.
sanctioned event with athletes in action. Pretty special.
Pretty special, man. I guess I will start by saying thank you for the invitation, because you said that you were at this 10 years ago.
That's right.
Because the Bay is kind of getting the marquee Super Bowl matchups every 10 years. So hopefully in 10 years we'll be back again. But just a really awesome morning. We'll kind of talk about what we were able to hear and witness. But I just want to say thanks for having me.
Yeah.
For those of you who are interested in today's podcast, we are recording Super Bowl weekend. By the time you listen to it, the Patriots or Seahawks will probably already have won the thing.
Probably one of them, yeah.
Hopefully it will not be the first ever tie in Super Bowl history. They would not allow that. But Will has been campus minister of Davis Christian Fellowship for many years. I won't date you. And by way of DCF, has been involved in a lot of different things at UC Davis and UC Davis athletics and football specifically too. So we just kind of thought, you know what? We've run into each other at games. We've chatted UC Davis football. We've chatted about our faith, and I've even shared on here about AIA and its impact on my life and Dwight's life when we were at UC Davis. So, yeah, how does that sound? Sound good?
Sounds great, man.
Yeah. So I think we'll start with where we are before we kind of get into to some of your UC Davis experience. And we were even talking about this beforehand. It was an amazing morning. There was Brent Jones, former 49ers great, 3-time Super Bowl champion, was the MC.
Yeah.
But like the cast of characters was impressive.
Yeah.
Which for me, I was expecting maybe some 49ers royalty because we're local. Sure. We had John Lynch, we had Christian McCaffrey winning the award. But for people like Condoleezza Rice to be in attendance, and some of the others, Sean Alexander came up at one point. Take us through, Andrew Luck. Like, take us through the morning, your experience, things that stood out about the Super Bowl breakfast.
Yeah, so I got invited 10 years ago, like you mentioned, the first time I attended this event with Athletes in Action and my friends who've served athletes there at UC Davis through that ministry. And so he came, it was incredible. We brought some UC Davis coaches last time we were around. And so I just knew it was going to be a special event this morning and wanted to make sure, found a way to be there. And my friend Jeremiah made it happen and got us these tickets. So super cool to be there. But just hearing their stories and even how their faith impacts their workspace. I mean, we had some guys from the tech industry, from AI. I'm tempted to get the program here, just list through everything. It's pretty incredible.
It was incredible.
But just seeing people using their influence to make the world a better place. And that's really what the Bart Starr Award was about, that Christian McCaffrey was honored with, his community service, his humanitarian work. And just to hear him share his story too. And we know how his injury impact after they were there in the Super Bowl a few years ago, and then he got injured the next season. And just hearing kind of all the things that were happening in his life and how his faith was a big part of his journey and where he's at today. So it was amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. It's one of those events that truly is memorable. Like, I will remember this day and the impact of each person's story. I think the one that'll stick with me was Bryant Young and his wife, who was super impressive in her own right, sharing about their son who passed away. And he had given a speech when he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame and referenced it, but just kind of seeing their faith and how they were able to still find purpose and inspiration through really hard things that go on in life, which we talk about on the podcast, because we all experience it. We all experience grief. And so, I think it would be good for people to understand why we're here, in addition to the Super Bowl breakfast. And what I really want to start asking you is, what is your relationship with UC Davis athletics and UC Davis football specifically been like for you throughout the years of ministry?
Oh, it's been such a special opportunity to care for student athletes. I volunteer in a role there just to be present if students have that type of need, to whether they're exploring faith or need encouragement in their faith. I've been around with my role as a campus minister, an alumni of UC Davis, so I've got involved with our ministry as a student, and then my wife and I have been running this program to serve the campus, for over 20 years.
Wow.
And so back in 2011, came in and did a chapel talk. I think that's where we met, just didn't really know it. I think found a picture in my Google Photos from that time, and pretty amazing, just all these years being able to be a part of the program in a unique way, just be present to serve people and volunteer my time.
Yeah, what is that? I guess I would ask you, because you DM'd that photo of Dwight and I in the room of you speaking before a game. I remember what it was like as a player to be sitting in that room. It's a really interesting experience, because even in, like we talk about in our faith community, like having a fully integrated faith, like your faith is present like wherever you are, not just I guess like a boxed in or a only on Sunday type of faith. Mm-hmm. And so you're preparing for a game and you're stressed and you're going through plays and you're trying to visualize success and you're trying to get your ankles taped and you're trying to, meet with your position coach, and you got to make sure your body's warmed up, especially when you're not athletic like me. And so then all of a sudden it's like a reminder, because you walk into chapel, of like the most important thing in your life. What is it like for you though, on that side of it, seeing these athletes come in, knowing like where we are, and then trying to build like a message to fit the moment? Yeah.
Well, I never take it for granted. It's a tremendous honor to speak into these young men's lives and really talk about identity. That's usually what every chapel talk will center on. There's so much in athletics, your identity is around performance. It can be. And bringing in a faith perspective to hear how much value you have as a human being, and created in the image of God is what I believe, and to really call that out. It's cool to hear like a lot of athletes, even in recent years given a lot of glory to God after a victory or even a loss. And I've thought about what glory is, and looking in the scriptures from my faith perspective, I see there's a passage in the scriptures where it talks about God's goodness passing before Moses, the example there. There's a couple times in scripture, but that was the image of God's glory, was his goodness. And that these players are finding their identity and the good things that God has put in them beyond just their performance on the field, but what really matters, what makes them come alive. And so those talks, I'm always trying to find ways to call out who they really are, and use stories, use illustrations, faith perspectives to challenge them in that.
Yeah. We were kind of walking through San Francisco to find my car safely with my camera in a parking garage. We were like, let's make sure we get some good, safe parking in San Francisco for this event, which the city's been beautiful.
Oh, incredible.
Like for Davis and Sacramento folks who haven't been down here, I've talked about, like, my family, we live down in the Bay. It's been gorgeous here, but we're kind of chatting about, like, what sort of things do we want to go through on this, and hearing Christian McCaffrey talk about kind of the highs and lows, which most of our listeners know his career, and amazing years, and then out for a year injured, and obviously just started a family and marriage and all that, but his story of, like, kind of pulling through adversity and even transformation and leaning on his faith. Are there any players at UC Davis throughout the years that, like, come to mind when you think of even just someone, like, you're grateful that you've been able to get to witness their life and their growth throughout, like, such a pivotal time of transformation during a kid's college career?
Oh, sure. I mean, that is the front row seat that I get to have, to be there to process life, or how things are going in their season, whether it's how much time they're getting playing, or an injury happens, or those type of the things, the heartaches that sometimes come with college sports. But be able to process, and again, to speak life into them, encourage them. And specifically, like, whether to talk about different stories. I mean, I know you guys have had Darius on the program before, but his college experience, that getting an injury early on, and then not playing, but then really becoming like a heartbeat of the team, and just the energy that he brought. And we got to connect over our faith as well, and just a real special guy, as we know. And
former MC now, Darius Livingston.
Yes, that's right. Who is married, another student athlete, and they had their first kid this year, named Davis, which I thought I was the biggest Aggie fan. But now he's definitely naming his first child after the city we love. And then there's tragedy that happens sometimes in their college experience as well, in life, and being able to process that with different players, and or even just conflict. People go through relational conflict. I've actually sat down with a player and their parent. Like, I've met. It's like there's been moments where just gotten to really process life. So such a gift to be there with them in that season. And then sometimes I've gotten to even officiate weddings, which is a huge joy of mine. Actually, I've done 30 weddings, so I can't necessarily say which one's my absolute favorite, but the most unique wedding was with one of our student athletes, Andy Carragher. I don't know if you know, he was an offensive lineman, graduated in 2017. But his wife, she would swim the bay to Alcatraz. He grew up in the city here, and she wanted to have her wedding ceremony at Alcatraz. But
they did it.
Well, you can't reserve Alcatraz for a wedding.
So it was like kind of informal, like us right here
exactly,
at this hotel lobby.
That's exactly what it was like. But they did their due diligence. They called like the park ranger to say, okay, we want to do this thing with my friends. We all just buy a ticket and get on the ferry. And so sure enough, she came in her wedding dress, and Andy was in a tux, and I brought my family with me, and we rowed the boat onto the island and found a spot, lined them up, bridesmaids, groomsmen. And it was probably the shortest ceremony I've done, but definitely the most unique. And I'm actually doing another wedding for a player this fall. Connor Pettick. So just
that's cool.
Pretty special.
He's another good one.
Just being a part of these students' lives. And this is what I get to do with other students on campus as well. but a really unique demographic that I've had opportunity to serve all these years.
Okay, the Alcatraz story is like taking me full circle because we ran into Dave Lomas, who's the pastor at our church here in the city, at the Super Bowl breakfast, which was fun. And his line at weddings, I'm pretty sure, don't hold me to this, Dave doesn't watch UC Davis football, so he's not going to see this. But, you know, he has some line at the start of every wedding about like, you're dead. Like you're dying to yourself when you get married. Like, bye-bye, you're dead.
Oh yeah.
And so like the Alcatraz prison wedding is like full circle. Like you're not going to the metaphorical jail. We love marriage, people.
Yes, marriage is
all
amazing.
in jest.
Yes.
This is all in jest. Don't take me seriously.
No.
But it was fun, again, kind of going back today, it was fun to like run into these people in the kind of Bay Area community who share faith, who share love for football, and all culminating in an event like this is so fun. I was wondering something. You mentioned certain issues or topics that you discuss with student athletes, and I'm wondering, because you've been doing this for more than a couple years, even though he looks great, it's been more than a couple years. So since 2002, right?
That's when I graduated Davis,
but if you think about the conversations, what that like discipleship or coaching looks like for yourself with student athletes, is it mostly the same things from then to now that you find yourself, like you talked about conflict, relational conflict, that you end up having conversations about, or has it changed? And if so, like what are the most common types of conversations you have with student athletes?
Yeah, I mean, there's, I think that we're going through just normal life as a student. You're managing stress from classes to relationships, or, there's a girl you like, you're talking about, just doing life as a young adult. But yeah, as far as like is around sport, I mean, I've definitely seen the change happening now with the portal and all that. It just is a dynamic where students are making decisions about their future, and I just really like try to celebrate the individual where they're at, whatever journey they're on. So even a couple conversations this past year, just to bless people and just want the best for them. And, but yeah, I think it's overall stayed the same. I mean, a young adult, it's a young adult, and as a college student, the program is definitely just enhanced over the years, and it's really been exciting to see it grow, and very thankful for the work you guys have been doing just to celebrate that what's happening at UC Davis, and engaging alumni and everybody. So it's very valuable.
So I want to ask you about like your ministry and future plans and whatnot, but before I do, I want to get into a little bit of 2025 Aggies and the season that we just had, another trip to the FCS quarterfinals. What was it like from your perch? Like I said, ran into you in the sidelines of some games, and I know that you have like a different perspective than maybe a casual fan or even just someone who's connected to the program. So yeah, what was the season like for you this past year? Like, do any memories or moments like kind of come to the top of your mind, things that you'll remember?
I'm just so proud of these guys, the hard work that they do, and to see the successes that they've had even these past couple of years. I'm just so proud of them. But yeah, this was a very special season, and seeing them overcome adversity. Like even I was talking with one of the players about the Idaho game that didn't go our way, but then the following week the Idaho game that went our way, but just the bounce back. And I just think that moment at that Sac State game, the potential last Causeway Classic, I got the T-shirt. There you go. Thank you.
There you go.
But that see in the start of the fourth quarter, we're down. But the energy on the sidelines, it looked like we had won it all, I keep forgetting the name of that song, but it's not on my playlist. But I've heard that maybe it shouldn't be on my playlist as a pastor. But the guys just swaying and bouncing up and down, and across the way, the other team was not as excited, and they had the lead.
And they had the lead, right?
Yeah, so those are like some moments I'll hold on to from this season, and so. pretty special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk to us about DCF, and even this Super Bowl breakfast was officially presented by amongst a host of other sponsors that were fascinating, like a lot of these VCs and AI companies that were here. Athletes in Action was the actual presenting organization, and so Athletes in Action has been doing these breakfasts for a ton of years. But what is Davis Christian Fellowship, and how has even, I know you're not part of Athletes in Action, but what is Athletes in Action for those who don't know?
For sure, yeah. So Davis Christian Fellowship, it's a campus ministry there serving UC Davis. So for people maybe aren't familiar, like in the faith world, it's almost like a church for campus. Like we function as a student organization, but then there's people like me that are there to see the ministry continue as clergy. And so we've started in '91. This is our 35th year serving UC Davis. There was a group of 5 alumni from a campus ministry in Washington that wanted to replicate what they had seen in their time, and they came here and started this ministry, and it's been going all these years, and currently probably about 300 students involved. It's a pretty thriving community. We'll do a weekly service for students on a Tuesday night, and then we have small group discussion groups or Bible studies, and those are run by students. So we really are about student empowerment and seeing them, encourage each other and mentor each other in their journey with faith. And so, and so we have a house right by campus, which is
I remember it.
Yeah, you remember it? Yeah, over on A Street.
Right by campus.
Right by campus.
Right when you're entering into downtown.
Yeah,
right?
We're right next to Hillel, which is the Jewish ministry. It's kind of a religious row there, I guess. So we have a community center where students it's like Grand Central Stations. They're just coming and going, studying there, hanging out. Beautiful little front yard area. Just students come and find community, find a home away from home. And then we started another house, which is we actually have residents, and we're actually building a second house right now too. So a lot of exciting things happening for DCF. And then Athletes in Action is an incredible ministry that's serving specifically our athletic community at UC Davis. And we've partnered together for over a decade, because they were 10 years ago when I came to this event, they're the ones who invited me to come alongside, and so we've partnered together, and our love for UC Davis and our love for UC Davis athletics, and so my buddy Jeremiah is keeping that going here at Davis now these days here.
Yeah. And I remember the R's were the previous AIA leaders, Andrew, who played football at Camp Alindo and played football at UC Davis, and his wife Rachel, who even worked at my previous company with me for a little bit. That's hired her as a sales rep. And she's like, I think I want to go run AIA. But going back to the Sorbellos, Shiloh, who used to give me haircuts, and Sam and their daughters are so cute. And oh my gosh, I think their little daughter's so cute. And then I'm seeing freaking basketballers at Woodland Christian now.
Totally. Yeah.
That is just crazy.
And my kids go to school with them there, so it's a pretty full circle moment. And Shiloh's been great, even helping that school, and actually hired some UC Davis athletes to come work.
Oh, really?
Interesting. Yeah, Ben Scott, he worked as a teacher there. It was cool because Ben was a part of Chapel, and definitely was a beautiful season of his life there as a player, what God was doing in his life. And
former quarterback, for those who don't know.
That's right, and but then he ended up being my kid's teacher. So
crazy.
It's just fun, and that's kind of the neat thing about Davis and the community.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, fun stuff. I do want to ask you about the future, because I know you said, hey, my kids go to Woodland Christian, but maybe not for long, right? Tell us what's going to be happening here.
This what I do is based on a calling, right? I felt, even as a student, I was involved in this ministry and felt a calling to give back. Gave a year, prayed about a lifetime. I've been working on a lifetime, And a few years ago, my heart was growing for campuses that don't have ministries like AIA or Davis Christian Fellowship, so just started praying for campuses that maybe we could send people from Davis to go serve those places. And it's kind of like one of those things, sometimes you become the answer to your own prayer. So my wife and I will be moving in this summer to go launch a new ministry in Cal State Fullerton. And we see it as a partnership with Davis, so I'll be back a lot. And I've already got all the home games on my calendar and do my best with some Southwest flights to come up.
We play San Diego early in the season at San Diego, so you get a nice little Southern California.
Exactly. Yep. So, so there's a season of transition coming. I have a daughter who's a student at UC Davis, which she'll stay back here, so it's kind of like a reverse launch. We're leaving her at college and moving.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But her name's Joy, so it's always been cool with the Find Joy motto around UC Davis football, which is incredible, and it means a lot too as a person of faith, that idea of finding joy in everything, and not about wins or losses, but the process. But my daughter, I told the guys, like, hey, if you see a redheaded sophomore named Joy, you found joy, come talk to me first, please. It's just one of those things.
Do not find joy, gentlemen. Stay away from joy. Just kidding.
No, actually, our guys are amazing.
Actually, if you're a solid guy, no.
Yeah, that's right. And we can do a wedding on Alcatraz, but it's a life sentence.
Into prison? Oh my! The dad jokes are coming in. They're hot today.
But joy would not be the ball and chain. That'd be you, okay?
I love it. Well, this has been fun, man. We always kind of give people like a final parting shot. Anything you're like, oh man, I wanted to talk about this, or thinking about the listeners and the community that you'd want to share?
Oh man, well, I share this a lot. It's Davis is such a special place, right? We all know that. I love how Coach Plough talks about how you give Davis gives back to you. I'm a product of that. Definitely been blessed by this community and the city, and it's so special. Like even the University of California, a lot of people don't know this, but the motto is "Let there be light," which is it's Genesis 1:3. So as a minister, I always get, I think that's pretty cool. But just seeing the light shine, and light shines into darkness, which is kind of what that verse is about, in creation, and God speaks, but just seeing what people are doing from UC Davis around the world, making a difference, letting the light shine. Seeing what our players are doing, it's incredible. Like as our alumni, what they, they're raising families now, which is wild, and yourself, being fruitful here in the marketplace and making an impact where you go. So I think that idea of let there be light, and taking that UC motto with you, and let's find joy.
I love it. Well, thanks so much for joining. It's been an awesome morning. I know that just thinking about the impact of people in the faith community who, give sacrificially and spend time and resources to impact lives. And as a student athlete, there is an interesting dynamic of your coaches, which we have great coaches at UC Davis, but their livelihood is dependent on our performance at times. And so that can be an interesting dynamic. And then teachers, it's a different type of dynamic as well. So to have a safe person who has shared beliefs like you, I know that it's made a big impact throughout the year. So thanks for your work, man, and thanks again for this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Brock. Appreciate this. Yeah.
Thanks. That was awesome.
Yeah.